What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this journey. Today, I have someone special in the studio. Her name is Sarah Victor. This is my baby sister, the youngest of the four kids. Why don't you give them a say hello, Sarah? Let them know.
Hi, guys.
Let them know you're in the building.
What's going on, guys? As he said, my name is Sarah Victor. I'm the youngest of my siblings.
Look, guys, Sarah, first of all, I ain't trying to cut you off, okay? I love you, all right? You done introducing yourself? Sarah is an amazing human. Sarah's a nurse, y'all, and she is someone who is very, what's the word I would say? She's meant to be a nurse. She's super helpful. She's someone I could come to if I need someone to pray for me. I can come to all my siblings, but it's just something about you, Sarah. I'm like, it's like you be rocking with me on the spiritual stuff. No offense to my other siblings, all right, because y'all good in your own way. But I think that nursing spirit of caring and excellence and diligence, I really respect that about you, Sarah. I want to just publicly say that. But this is not about you. This whole podcast ain't about her, but I just want to say that publicly. The real thing that I want to talk about is a tragedy that has just come upon me since moving to Atlanta, okay? And just full context, I'm not afraid to be vulnerable about this, Sarah, because as you know, the reason why this bad thing happened to me was because I didn't ask for help in the first place. And so here's what happened. I moved to Atlanta. I come here on a hope and a wish and a dream. I'm already driving this old car, all right? I'm maxing out all my credit cards just to survive and eat. I'm that person who's prideful, ego-driven, saying, you know, I'm a man. I don't need no help. Even though I just moved to a city, I just spent all my money getting here, right? But, bro, you got support. Bro, you got family, like your sister who's a nurse that loves you and cares about you. You got other siblings who are here for you. You got your mom and your dad they're not with you in the city, but they're willing to support you if you just ask for help. Now, I want to give you context. My family, they're not rich, okay?
We're just rich in heavenly currency. That's it.
Oh, yeah, we rich in heavenly currency. I like that. Yeah, y'all heard it. Look, we rich in Jesus, all right? We come from a poor beginning, but my sister, she would come and visit us, and she would cook food for us. Like, I really appreciate that. I didn't ask you for that, but you did cook food. I remember when you brought groceries up here. Now, I didn't tell you all the details of what I was going through. I told you a little bit, but I really didn't go in deep as a result of me not asking for help. My car just broke down. And I want to speak to somebody who is going through it right now. Like, car just broke down on the side of the highway, fumes coming out, and it was because I just didn't have enough money to get an oil change. I was focused on either, okay, I put gas in it or put oil in it, and I just didn't want to stop and get an oil change. And because I didn't want to spend the money to get oil change, and I was neglecting it, the oil light already came on. I was driving here, I was driving there, and I drove that thing out the road, and I just heard some noises in there that wasn't good. So my question for you is, when I was on the side of the road and I called you and asked you for $100 to help me get to tow that car back to the house, and I told you my situation, what happened, I didn't reach out for help. Why is it important for humans in general, not just the Raynos of the world, you know, why is it important for us to tell people that we need to be vulnerable? Like, why is it important for us to be vulnerable? And because I want to hear from your perspective, you know what I'm saying? Because I asked you for help. She helped me, you know, my sister, she helped me. But had I not just asked her for the $100 for the oil change versus asked her $100 for the tow, now my car will be working right now. And like I said, I just moved to Atlanta. I need that car. So I want to hear from your perspective, you know, as my sister who helps me. You know, I'm a man that talks about getting 1% better every day, but my car getting 1% worse because of my negligence. So I want to talk about today, what does it mean for us as human beings to be vulnerable and get better at that every single day? So that's it, Sarah. How do you feel about that subject?
Well, I think back about when we were first created, right? When God first created Adam and Eve, and he had Adam first, and he was by himself, and God saw him alone, and he was like, this is not good. So he brought Eve there to help him. right? So like I don't think that we as humans are meant to be alone, and not even just like the relationship sense, but in every sense. Not saying that you should rely on other people, like other people should be your primary source for things. Of course you got to get it on your own and, figure it out initially on your own, but it is not a bad thing to ask for help. If anything, there's strength in being vulnerable, right? Because you're showing that you're human, like you can't do it all on your own. Me as being a younger sibling, seeing you and Kat, I always view you guys as people who are self-efficient, right? And you guys are, for the most part. I'm not saying that they're not, of course, but it was a bit I'm gonna say a shocker to me when you first asked me like for it, because I'm like, he's my big brother, like he got it, you know what I'm saying? But it also reminded me that you are human like me, and you go through stuff just like me. So I want to thank you for that too, because it showed me that when I go through stuff, it's okay to ask for help, or it's okay to be in that spot, because I'm human. So by being vulnerable and by letting your light shine, you unconsciously gave me the permission to do the same.
Man, Sarah, first of all, I just want to say you are so professional in that answer. You gave a biblical reference. Then you talking about, man, I love you, man.
Oh, I love you too, right
You
now.
you gonna be all right. And she said something real deep, y'all. I think as an older sibling, it's okay for me to say this. I mean, in my podcast, I think that people think that if you're older and you're asking a younger person for help, or even if there's like a younger person that just knows something that you don't know, like we afraid to like ask questions or ask for help. Like, I'm the older one, I should know. But man, it's my baby sister, y'all. Like, I should be asking. This is how my mind is saying, all right? She should be asking me for money. I shouldn't be asking her for money. But the reality is, the situation is, Rayno, it's very normal and expected for someone who was, already struggling financially before I came to Atlanta. Then I just made the jump saying, bump, I don't care how much money I got. I'm moving to Atlanta. I spent everything to get here. Now I get here and I'm spending everything, trying to get things started with my business. And calamity strikes. There's no better person than to go to than my sister. And I am grateful for her, y'all, because I think that some people don't have family that they can come to, or they don't have friends they can call on. They don't have, church people they can call. And I'm grateful that I have actually a long list of people that I could call for help. But your ego is not your amigo. All right. That feeling that I'm 26, I'm a man, I gotta figure this out on my own. Like Sarah, that's really what I was feeling. And I think that a lot of us, and I would say for men as well, we struggle with that vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? So just thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for being helpful. Because I remember when I called for help, you sent the money. I got the car towed to the house. And I was just thinking to myself, like, dang, I failed. But then I had to remind myself the reason why I'm in this situation right now is because of the fact that I did not ask for help earlier. And so why do you think that it's important also for people who, like you just said, like people who are struggling, you're going through it. Now, like I said, you may be asking for help, not just financially, right? Because I think it is important for us. Listen, if you can be financially responsible, save your money, I get it. Like, but people make mistakes. But in other ways as well, like I gave an example of an older person learning from a younger person. Like, why is it important to ask for help, like in your opinion?
It's important to ask for help, not only from older or younger people, but just in people from general, because, I don't know about you, but this is my first time doing this thing called life. I don't know much about nothing, for real. I only been here for 22 short years, so it's just normal not to know things. You're not gonna know everything. We're not God. Thank God we're not God. So if you have to ask somebody for help, then that's okay. I think in doing so, also, you're not only showing that you're wise for not I think people think like, oh, me not knowing this is me not being wise. Like me not having this knowledge is me not being wise. But you actually not asking to gain the knowledge is you not being wise.
Wow,
So
that's powerful.
yeah, I think.
That's really powerful. I like what you said because I think there are other areas of my life where I've done this very well. And I think that's something that I think I can learn from. Like even as a nurse, like I want to hear your background. So like I think about how the nurses they like. Man, I'm sure you probably get mad when them folks keep bringing that call like asking for help. Like how like don't it get annoying? I feel like if I ask for help, I'm being annoying. Like I feel like if you're a patient in the hospital, if you've ever been in the hospital, there's a thing called a call light, and if you need help, you just hit this button and a nurse will come. I'm sure you've had patients just ringing that thing. They'll hit it, and Sarah come into the room, right? And sometimes it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, dang man, you just wasting my time. Does it feel like that though? Be honest. Like there is a negative side to always ask for help. Talk about that. Like if someone is feeling like, yo, if I'm asking for help, and speak to the fact that yes, it may. Are we annoying people sometimes when we ask for help? Like,
I think this is varies because where I work, we don't have techs. I work in the ICU, and there's only like us and the doctors, nurses and doctors. There's no like CNAs, patient care techs. It's just us and the doctors. So of course we're the primary person to go to the call light, and sometimes the reason why they call is like oh my goodness. But every time I find myself getting like frustrated with the patient who's like steady on the call light for something like as simple as a cup of water or something like that, I don't know. When I'm like in the middle of doing something else that's more urgent, every time I find myself getting frustrated, I'm like, well, actually, thank God that they only call for this and they're not calling because they're in a more bad state, like they're in a dire emergency. You know what I'm saying? And thank God that they know to call for anything because you know what I'm saying? I want to know most everything so that way I can be on top of it in the event that something bad does happen. I'm there. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know if I worded that correctly or not, but I'm not gonna lie. It does get it can get tiring sometimes, especially when you have people who are like they kind of take advantage of. As you should, you're patient. That's your right to have access to to service. I'm not gonna say to fast service, but access to someone who will answer your call light. But yeah, I thank God that it's not something like most of the time that it's not something grave.
yeah, and I just want to make this clear. There's a difference between being vulnerable and asking the nurse for help, or asking your friends for help, or asking for family for help, versus taking advantage of the fact that you got a call light and I got a cell phone. I can just call Sarah every time I need help. I'm just gonna figure just call Sarah, call Nurse Sarah. She used to it anyway. She a nurse. People call all the time. They just come to the room because I think that that's not what I want to be perceived as. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that when I say that I have trouble being vulnerable, that's coming from a place of like, yo, how can I get 1% better every day at being more vulnerable, right? Because keep it a buck with you, I never ask for help. I try to anyway. But just because of the season I was in, I find myself asking for help more. And that's more like the patient that's in a critical condition. Does that make sense? Is that a fair analogy? Do you like that analogy? Like Sarah the nurse seeing, okay, Rayno needs help. Like he normally don't ask for help. Normally his call light don't come on, but it's on right now. And you're like, yo, this is my big brother too, though. It's shocking. And I'm here to help. So I appreciate that, because what I don't want is for people to have a victim's mentality. Our last name is Victor. I don't know if you're aware of that. Are you aware that our last name is Victor and that we're victors and not victims? And I think that it would be very hypocritical if I try to say, oh, be vulnerable, but not address the victim thing. Because some people, they're always asking for help in the sense that they don't take accountability for their help. But I'm saying if you're really in dire straits, like that's isn't that what families for? They should be. Praise God for our family. But how do you feel about that analogy I just gave? Is that a good?
I think it's a pretty good analogy. I also liked how you mentioned just kind of how our family dynamics are. But by the grace of God, our dad, he's you ask him for help, it's a drop of a hat. Like he's gonna do everything he can. And I really feel like I learned it from him for real. I feel like all of us are different because I think you and Kat and Daniel, like you guys are amazing. I really like. I couldn't have prayed for better siblings. Like they are really so awesome. You know, when I was in nursing school, I couldn't afford lunch or couldn't afford like school supplies, something like you guys didn't always have it, but y'all made a way. You know, God made a way. You know, and Dad would like pull extra shifts, do what he has to do. So I think that me doing this is just not only a reflection of course, what Christ has done for me, but also what you guys have done for me too.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I remember them days. I remember Sarah was in nursing school, and we had this prayer line at our church, and she would call every single night with the same prayer request and the same prayer request. We're like, they like, anybody got any special prayer requests? Sarah said, I'm trying to get through nursing school. Next day, hey, anybody got any special prayer requests? Sarah said, I'm trying to get through nursing school. And it came to a point where the people on the prayer line would say it before she said it. They're like, all right, Sarah, we already know.
Like, does anybody have any prayer requests? Okay, we already know Sarah about nursing school. Anybody else?
Sarah, you don't have to say it. You said it like a million
So
times.
it'd be some mornings I actually like would oversleep and like miss my alarm, and then like I would hop on the prayer line late, and so then I would come in like at the tail end of the prayer, and I would hear them pray over that prayer, and I'm like, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
That's
Now look
crazy.
at you. And now you're a nurse. Come on now. That's the power
I still hop on though.
of prayer. And
When I
yes,
can.
continue to keep praying, because I think now we're in this new chapter. You know that before I actually am doing what I'm doing now as a digital marketer, as someone who helps speakers and coaches, I was a struggling church mission trip photographer. I was in the church space, working for the church, working for pastors, going from city to city. And I was in this place where in faith, I intentionally took a decision to do that. All right. I'm not mad about that season. But because of that, now at 26, I didn't do the proper financial work that I was supposed to. I was living hand to mouth, feast to famine, living paycheck to paycheck. And I was doing a lot of good work in the community. And you've seen some of the work that I've done, the videos I've created to help nonprofits raise funds, and I wasn't making any money. That being said, financially, that wasn't wise. Does that make sense? And so when transitioning to a new city, I want to give you guys some context. Like, I'm not just out here just being irresponsible. I was being irresponsible in the fact that I wasn't like actually figuring out business and sales in the way I was supposed to. But here's what I mean by that. That being said, I'm hitting rock bottom. I'm struggling at the bottom. And I'm wearing this shirt to everybody saying get 1% better every day. Why is it important to, if someone hits rock bottom, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, you didn't have everything handed to you. Everything wasn't perfect. But why is it important for us to get 1% better every day in asking for growth in whatever area we're struggling with? When we're at the bottom, I want you to speak to someone who's at the bottom, because I think you know what it's like to be like really broke and you're struggling to get through nursing school. Like, what would you tell to a younger Sarah, if you will, about getting 1% better every day, being that now you've made it past nursing school? And that's a big deal, guys. There's some people, they're still struggling to get through it. I want you to speak to that person in the struggle. Why is this message on the screen so important?
Control what you can control. So getting 1% better to me, it just small daily wins. But yeah, getting 1% better to me sounds like, okay, of course we want to, like when I was in nursing school, man, I remember the first semester, me, Monty, Brandy, and Daniel. Monty and Daniel used to be like, shout out to Monty and Daniel, by the way. Monty and Daniel used to be like I'm telling you, we was like first semester sitting in fundamentals class, and they'll be like, man, I'm ready to graduate already. I'm like, guys, we're in the first week of nursing school. Like, you gotta, take it one day at a time, one assignment at a time, one clinical at a time. So when I see get 1% better every day, it really just reminds me that you just need to take it one day at a time, because stuff that comes easy sometimes leaves easy too. But there's perseverance in the wait. There's a lot of things that happen in that season where you are going towards your goal, and it's not going to be something quick because you have to appreciate it. So God's not going to always give it to you right then and there, because he wants you to appreciate it, I believe. So I'm grateful that it didn't happen as fast as I wanted it to happen, because I definitely wouldn't have appreciated it. So yeah, that's why I think it's important for people to focus on getting 1% better every day, because it lets you focus on the things that are right in front of you, instead of you focusing on the still focus on the bigger picture, of course, but control the things that are right in front of you right now. Because if you don't control the things that are right in front of you right now, you won't even really be able to paint the bigger picture, because you ain't even picking up the brushes. You ain't even buy the paint. So you got to focus on the things that you can control first. So that's why I think it's important to get 1% better every day.
And look, she said, you gotta look at the bigger picture, my friends. Like, that's what it's about. I think there's so many people, and I'm a photographer. I don't know if you know this or not.
I think I knew that.
But anyway, she said, look at the bigger picture. And I think that's really ultimately what God is calling me to. I feel like, yes, I was a photographer that was documenting impact and change and transitioning from the nonprofit space, being an independent subcontractor, to I believe that someone who is transitioned to the for-profit side. It's been hard. I'm not gonna lie, Sarah. That idea of, you're that nursing student and you're just like, in the beginning, literally, I've just moved to Atlanta about a month and a half ago. You said the first semester, my man was saying, yo, I want to get to where I'm trying to go. Like, I feel that right now. Like, I just moved to Atlanta, maxing out all my credit cards. I'm struggling to get here. I'm struggling to get there. My car breaks down. I'm going to this conference. I'm speaking to these people, telling them, you got to be a victor and not a victim. Get 1% better every day. My car getting 1% better worse. You know what I'm saying? Just crash on me. So I just saw this to say, like, yo, like, life will be lifing. And in the beginning of your journey, it's been a month in. It's been 2 months in. It's been one semester in. It's been, you just gone this little bit. And it's like, yo, like, this is hard. You mean I'm supposed to be doing this for many years? And I think that a lot of us, 1% every day, it doesn't feel real, because like in it right now, it hurts. Like, it really hurts. And so I want to say to all my people who are watching this, yo, just keep going, man. Sarah's living proof, right? She was a struggling nursing student in the beginning, right? But in the end, getting 1% better every test, every quiz, fighting. Eventually, you crossed that finish line. And when she graduated, y'all, we were so proud of her. We went to that graduation, and they gave her like this special award. I don't even remember the name of the award. We were yelling so loud. We didn't even hear that. Man, what would care what the award is? They call her Sarah Victor, and Sarah's a victor. She's not a victim. And she's living proof. And praise God that she did, because she was able to help me on the side of that road. So I'll say this. A lot of people, they miss out on the blessing of asking for help. So I want to encourage you, men, women, boys, and girls, everybody. Let's get 1% better every day at being just a little bit more vulnerable, all right, and asking for help, but not as a victim, right? I want to keep it super clear, right? I'm not trying to say take advantage of people, right? You don't want to be like that patient. They just hitting that call, like, right? Hit. We want to be that person who's asking it with intention, but also know that when you give, also if you're the person that's receiving that call for help, it's okay. It's okay to be a little annoyed. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, it's like, dang, man, I don't really got money like that. $100, right? or two. Okay, some of y'all be wild. I'll be asking for a whole lot of money, but it's all good though. You know what I'm saying? Like, all you're gonna get is a no, right? Don't be afraid to ask.
I also want to add to that. If you guys know somebody in your family or just in your circle, your friends, who are not the quickest to ask for help, you see them as like, oh, they're self-efficient. They're always like how I viewed Rayno and my other older sibling, Kathleen. Shout out to Kotlin. I've always viewed them as people who are just like, oh, they gonna be all right. Like, they'll figure it out, because they have always been like that in my life. That they, you know what I'm saying, if we were in a situation, they would have figured it out. Like, they'll be okay. So I would say check on those people who you think are just like, oh, they're okay, they're all right. Because I hear a lot of older siblings, especially in Caribbean households, say like, no one checked on me. No one asked me, was I okay? But I'm always checking on everybody else. I'm always making sure everybody else is okay.
Man, I would argue that's a worldwide problem. Like, because I think older siblings are always seen as the second parents. And you're right. But keep talking that talk. I like how you talking. Let's check on the strong friends, y'all.
Please check on your strong friends. Check on your strong siblings. Like, check on them. Check on them.
Yeah. So it goes both ways, right? Be vulnerable with those strong friends and say, hey, I notice you're helping me. How can I help you? But also, I think, yeah, context matters for all of this stuff. But no matter what, let's be more vulnerable, even with our relationship with Christ, and asking Him for help to give us wisdom and guidance and how to help our friends who need help. All right, so let's be vulnerable, not only with ourselves, not only with our friends and our family, but ultimately with our ultimate relationship with our relationship with the Most High. So let's get 1% better at that as well. So I'll leave you with this. God bless you. Don't let the devil stress you, and keep on moving forward and be a victor and not a victim. We'll talk to y'all later, all right? Peace.